Hi everyone, my name is Lisa and welcome to my channel, The Southern Seamstress. I hope everyone's doing well. Here in Arkansas, we're still having some very warm weather and it still feels very much like summer. Apparently it's ragweed season here in Arkansas and I've been sneezing and blowing my nose all day. So if I sound a little congested and my nose looks a little red, that's the reason why. In today's video, I've got several things to share with you. First of all, the garment that I've been making, which is on my dress form. And I also had some fabrics from Sewing Studio that I got earlier this summer that I'd like to share. Plus a new pattern by Ellie Mac is out. Earlier this summer, I thought it would be fun to make up several different types of jumpsuits. I started out making a very simple one, which is more of a romper, and it's the one I'm wearing, and it is a pattern that I had found on Etsy, and I did a review of it last month. So if you want to know more about it, I'll link that video in the description below where you can click on it. Originally I thought I would make 3 jumpsuits, a very simple one, a kind of intermediate one, and then a more detailed one. The pattern that I picked out for the more detailed one is McCall 7908. Now, I haven't got around to making this pattern yet, but it's a fairly fitted jumpsuit. You can make it sleeveless, short sleeves or long sleeves. It's got a zipper that runs up the front. You can also make it with long pants or shorts. It's got a V-neck with a collar. Anyway, I think that's just really cute. I hope to make it next year, maybe out of some lightweight denim. So now I'd like to talk to you about the jumpsuit that I made this week. And that was Simplicity 9792. It's a little jumpsuit pattern that I got off of Etsy. It is a 1960 vintage one that they've re-released. Anyway, I thought it looked cute on the pattern. You know, it's a little bit more fitted than this little one from Etsy, but it's not as complicated as the McCall's one. This pattern comes in sizes 6 to 24 with a bust size of 30.5 to 46 inches. And it does say it's easy to sew. And I thought that was kind of ironic because it has a zipper that runs, you know, right in the middle of the front, up and down. And usually, at least with today's pattern, if something has zippers or buttons, they don't really consider it a beginner pattern. But I think maybe they did back in the 60s because clothes were just a lot more fitted then. And most patterns did require a zipper or buttons or snaps to get it on and off. So people were just used to putting those in, I guess. But now we have a lot more loose fitting clothes where you can just slip them over your head. And that's what we would consider more of a beginner pattern. Because this was fairly fitted, I did opt to make a partial toile with it out of some muslin. It's got bust darts. I wanted to see if I needed to raise or lower the bust darts. And I wanted to see about the length because I am on the shorter side, so I knew I would have to shorten it some. So I think originally with my muslin, I took 2 inches from like the bottom part and 2 inches towards the top. I divided it up. I believe I made a size 10. According to my body measurements, I was more like a 12, but I looked on the finished garment measurements and it looked like the 10 would be plenty big enough and have enough ease. So that's what I cut out on the muslin, and when I tried the muslin on, I could get it on fine, but I felt like it was a little bit short in the stride. And if I, you know, bent over, I would need a little bit more ease. And also, I wanted to make the little tie that matches, and I thought that would probably bring it up just a dab. So I decided just to keep the 2 inches shortened right here and not the other 2 inches. So instead of shortening 4 inches, I just shortened it 2 inches. I had also thought the bust dart needed lowered about 1/2 inch. And it was pretty fitted on the sides. I didn't think I needed a whole size bigger, but I thought it could use a little bit more ease. I was worried about it, you know, just being too tight. So I thought, well, instead of taking a 5/8 seam, I would just take a 3/8 inch seam on each side, and that would give me 1 more inch around from here to here of ease, and that would be plenty. The fabric that I made the jumpsuit out of is one of the fabrics from Sewing Studio. It's a cotton yarn dyed embroidered Indian gauze, and it is 100% cotton. It was fairly easy to work with. It is sort of a crinkly fabric. So when I was doing the zipper, I felt it was a little bit more difficult than if it had been just a flat cotton or fabric that didn't have these crinkles in it. So this pattern had mostly adequate instructions. It didn't have a lot of detail on the zipper part, which was the most complicated part about the pattern. Basically, it's just telling you to stitch the seam below it and leave the zipper part seam open but press down the edges, and then it tells you to put your zipper stop a 1/2 inch below the seam line, close your zipper, baste the edges over it, and then sew it. And that's the instructions. Now, I was a little anxious because I can't even remember the last time I put a zipper in. It was probably over 20 years ago. But when I used to put in zippers, it seemed like I would always baste the seam where the zipper was going, and then baste the zipper into the seam allowance on the back side, and then stitch along the front, so that way you knew that the seam was going to cover the zipper, which that did work out fine like this. It's just that this zipper is certainly not perfect. It is covered except for a little bit where the tab is, and you know, I guess it would be better if that was completely covered, but it doesn't really bother me. But I think I've got more overlap on one side of my seam than the other one. But anyway, I was just trying to keep these stripes kind of going straight, not look all zigzaggy. So anyway, I think it looks fine. It's not perfect, like I said. So I get the zipper in, and once you get the zipper in, it's fairly easy. It's got a facing around the front and the back. Then you can put the pockets on, and I thought I'd put the pockets on to get it a little bit more detailed. And I put them horizontal just to, I thought they looked better that way, plus I didn't have to worry about matching any stripes. Now I got about probably 2/3 done. I'd put my facings on. I hadn't tacked them down yet, and I hadn't done the shoulders. So I decided to try it on. And I don't know what happened, but this outfit grew. This fabric did not fit like the muslin at all. I guess because it's not a stretchy fabric, but it does have more ease than plain muslin. So I tried on, and it's at least a couple inches too long in the stride. The belt's not going to take it up enough. You know, I thought I was just barely going to have a little bit of ease in the side, and they were baggy. And the worst part was that this neckline poked out, and the back was like really poking out, just really odd. And when I tried the muslin on, I thought the shoulder straps were fitting kind of wide, but you know, I was looking at the picture and they seemed to be okay on her, and I thought, oh, it's just the muslin. Once I get the buttons in, it'll be okay. I'm probably going to wear it over a shirt, but it just looked very odd. And I was just kind of really bummed out because I had already put so much work into it. And I thought, I can't wear this because one thing of the neckline, and I can't really take this length up because of this zipper here. I could probably take the stride up a little bit, but I couldn't take it up 2 inches. So I was really bummed about it. But then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, if someone was taller than me, you know, they might could just wear it around the house or something. So anyway, I have 2 daughters, and one of them lives close to me, and she happens to be 5'8". So I thought, if I'm 5'2" and this is a couple inches too long, then this would probably work out for her. And also she's about a size bigger than me around. So I asked her if I finished it, would she wear it? And she said, oh yeah, I'll wear it. So I tried it on her and it was still too big in the sides. But it was the right length up and down. But it gapped out on the front neckline and the back neckline. So I took up the sides like another seam along the seam I had already taken. The length was okay on the legs, so I put like the 1-inch hem that it called for. But then this neckline was really bothering me. So this has a seam along the back. So what I did was I unpicked my facing right here and I just made a back dart. Probably a good 1 inch from the seam line. So it took it in 2 inches right here. And you can see it's still a little bit coming, you know, it's not super tight. It's still a little relaxed right here. But I took 2 inches out of here and I just tapered it down in a dart to about right here. So it gave this more structure and it helped eliminate that fanning out. So then I still had the problem with the front, and since I had the zipper here, I just wasn't sure if putting darts right here were going to look okay. But I didn't feel like my daughter would wear it if it looked funny. So what I did was I undid the facing on each side, and I put, and you can probably tell the way the stripes are going, I put just a little tuck. There was a 1/2 inch dart. So it was 1 inch here and 1 inch here. So I took it 1 inch up on each side and I just did it to about right here. So not very long because I didn't want it coming down over the bust area. So anyway, I don't think the little tucks look bad. It didn't say to top stitch this neck edge, but I think I may go back and top stitch this because this facing, which is just tacked down on the seams, kind of wants to roll forward. Another odd thing about this pattern is that it didn't really button. What they wanted you to do was put a button up here, and they only called for a 1/2 inch button. Now a 1/2 inch button would look like is this big. And I thought that was look really strange. So they wanted you to put a 1/2 inch button, and then how they really wanted you to close it was you're supposed to sew 2 snaps, the kind that you have to sew in underneath here. So it was like a faux button closing, but then it would have looked really odd, I think, with a 1/2 inch button. So what I did was I made a real buttonhole. And I went ahead and reinforced inside each of these shoulder strap areas with some interfacing and put a buttonhole. And then I used this size button, which is 1 inch, 1 1/8 inch, so just slightly bigger than 1 inch. And I think it's a good size for it. So anyway, although this pattern was a near fail, and I thought it was a failure, I think I fixed it up well enough that it looks presentable, and at least hopefully my daughter will wear it around the house after all the trouble I put into it. But that is the vintage jumpsuit by Simplicity. A couple of other things I wanted to mention before I show you the fabric. I had got an email from Ellie Mac saying they had a new hoodie top out and it's on sale this week. I don't have any affiliation with them, but I thought this hoodie was really cute because I don't see a lot of color blocked hoodies. And they had it on sale. I think it was 30-something% off, so it's just under $6. So I thought that was good. So I'm hoping to find some coordinating sweatshirt fabrics that will look good in this view right here. I'm not sure how long the sale will be going on, but I think the pattern is still under $10 when it's full price. So I thought that was cute. If you watched my video last week, I was telling you about a style art pattern that I had ordered on Amazon when they were having a 20% off sale. And I got that pattern in this week, and it's the Armadale dress. I won't be making it till next summer, but this is my first style art pattern. And I thought maybe I might have some viewers that hadn't gotten any style art patterns. I just wanted to kind of show you what their patterns look like if you get a printed pattern. Now, a lot of the reviewers had complained about their patterns, saying that their instructions were a little on the skimpy side. So I wanted to kind of actually show you what instructions and information comes with the pattern besides the actual pattern itself. So when you get the pattern, they've got, this is the printed one and not the PDF. So you have this huge piece, you know, of paper that you would cut out or trace out your pattern. And then on the cover or on the front page of how they've got it folded, basically they're just showing kind of a drawing of models with the dress, and then the line art, the line drawings of the dress. So this is one page that you'll get. So you basically already have seen this on the website, so it's not really telling you anything new. There are 3 pages besides the pattern itself. And the second page gives you the measurements for you to decide which size that you should make, and I think the yardage needed. So below this measurement area, so there are some helpful hints, such as, you know, you should mark all the notches on your pattern, and also about what pieces to interface. And then the directions themselves is just line items 1 through 25. And first they have a section that says how to construct the collar. So that's 1 through 4. And then it has construction of the bodice, the skirt, and then completing the construction. So that's the directions that you get. And I think that might be a little difficult for a complete beginner, but I think if you're at least an experienced beginner, it may be okay. They have one more page, and this is the only diagrams you get. So it's telling you how many pieces to cut of each pattern piece, and if they're on the fold or not. And then you have a little diagram about turning up your sleeve cuff, and then just kind of showing you how the collar is joined on, and it's showing you that there's an inside seam pocket, and then turn out the hem with the facing. So very limited on the diagrams. And I personally do like to have diagrams with the written instructions. But I think this dress will be okay. I'm not sure if I would want to get like a really complicated coat or jacket. That might be a little scary. But anyway, I just wanted to show you people that weren't familiar with what you would get in terms of instructions with a style art pattern. So for the last part of my video, I've got some fabrics from Sewing Studio. I got these several months ago. There were like 2 summery fabrics, and one of them was this aqua cotton gauze, and that's the only one I've gotten done so far. And the other summery type fabric was this textured white floral linen. And I thought this was so pretty, and I really wanted to get it made up this summer, but it's going to have to wait till next summer, especially since it's white. I've never had any textured, linen. It's got like little humps or bumps raised up on the fabric. But anyway, I would really like to make sort of like a summer romper with this, but one that looks more like you're wearing a dress, but it's really divided. I only have 1.5 yards, so I'm not sure, but I think it's fairly wide. Now with this other little jumpsuit, I just barely had enough fabric, but it's because this fabric, I think was only like 45 inches wide. It wasn't extremely wide, so I just barely had enough of it to get the little jumpsuit made. Now, my favorite piece of fabric that I received on my order was this one, and it is a rayon rib knit. It's got blue and turquoise and charcoal stripes and some white, and it's just very, very soft and comfy feeling, and it's fairly thin. It's not very thick. And on their website, it says that they suggest either a very lightweight cardigan or just like a little pullover top. So I guess you could make, a t-shirt style top or just another, fairly plain, maybe knit top, or just a really lightweight cardigan. I think I will probably be making some sort of pullover top. I haven't decided which one that would be, but if I could find one that kind of plays up on the stripes, that would be fun. And I have another rayon rib knit, and I think it's the same fabric content. It's 95% rayon, 5% elastane. But to me, this one's really soft, but this one, the other stripe, just seems like it has a little bit of a fuzziness to it. But I guess they are the same. But I really like this dark burgundy wine, and I don't think I'll make a cardigan. It's fairly thin, so it'll probably be sort of some kind of, t-shirt knit pullover top too. My next to last fabric is this merino wool, and it's 100% merino wool. They call it a gray and cream mini stripe. It's very mini. But this is merino wool, but it's very soft to the feel. I don't think it'll be scratchy at all. And it's suggesting the same thing for it, a light cardigan. And I was thinking when I ordered it, I wasn't sure how light it would feel. And I had gotten some buttons to match to make a cardigan, but it's pretty translucent. I can see through this fabric, so I'm thinking it may be too light for a cardigan. I might find some more, chunkier fabrics for a cardigan. So that will be another long sleeve top. Last week I had talked about Style Art's Preston knit sweater. So I think probably one of these fabrics I will try making this sweater with. I really like the raglan sleeves, and I think the striped fabric would look really good with the raglan sleeves. So anyway, I'm hoping they will put their website patterns on sale, or they'll run it on a Sunday special, because now every Sunday they're running one of their patterns, PDF patterns, 30% off. So I'm anxious to see what this weekend the pattern is going to be. And for my last fabric, I have this cotton thermal sage fabric, which is very stretchy. That's the wrong side. It's very stretchy, so it's going to be really comfortable. I don't think they were for sure what the exact fabric content was, but they said it's probably mostly cotton with a little bit of spandex. But it does have a 40% four-way stretch. So if you have any suggestions of any cool tops I can make or pullovers, just let me know. I had several people last week recommend the Harper cardigan by Sinclair Patterns, and so I've got that downloaded. It looks like a really comfortable cardigan and fairly simple. I had recently watched a video by Amelia from So Amelia making that same cardigan in a really pretty blue sweater fabric, and I thought hers turned out really nice. And I think she added some buttons to hers. So let me know if you have any good cardigan or hoodie or sweatshirt suggestions, especially ones that have raglan sleeves, because I think the fabric that I have with the stripes would really look good with a raglan sleeve. Well, that does it for this week's video. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope it didn't seem too draggy. These allergies kind of make me feel a little bit on the blah side. My husband and I and our dogs are leaving this weekend to go camping for about a week in Tennessee, so won't be getting any sewing done. I do plan to take a crochet project with me. It's one that I've been working on for over a year. It's not like a huge project, it's just that I don't work on it very often, but I'm hoping to get it done and someday show it in a video. Hopefully I'll be back in a couple weeks, If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to do that. So until my next video, take care and happy sewing.